Why should a man be scorned if, finding himself in prison, he tries to get out and go home, or if, when he cannot do so, he thinks and talks about other topics than jailers and prison walls? Bombay Rose is a hand-painted Hindi film. It explores the lives of characters living in Mumbai of different ages, with the one thing binding them, their quest for happiness and the escape they seek in the city. We have an escaped child bride who takes care of her paralyzed grandfather and a little sister. She sells gajras in the day and dances in a bar at night. She has her fantasies and her plans, determined to make them happen. Her admirer is a man who came from Kashmir in search of a better and peaceful life in the city of Mumbai. And then there is Shirley D'Souza, a woman reminiscing her golden days, hiding her loss in a perfect blanket of smiles and quips. A common theme between the characters is the solace they find from their current circumstances in stories, cinematic or otherwise. Escapism is defined as a mental diversion from unpleasant or boring aspects of daily life, typically through activities involving imagination or entertainment. In an article, Jeremy E. Sherman writes, "We humans face way too much reality, more than a body can stand. We need escapism. Hobbies, pastimes, daydreams, and fantasies are how we discharge the tensions that accumulate in our anxious, exposed human lives." It is safe to say that cinema plays a major part in that. We know how much Bollywood has designed the landscape, from the increased tourism to Switzerland to cheating techniques of Munna Bhai. A common adjective of Bollywood has always been aspirational. Even in the era of realistic stories, larger-than-life stories are still sought widely by the masses. So it comes as no surprise that the characters of our story, who have come to Mumbai in search of a better life, daydream about the life they see on the white screen. In Hindi cinema, we are often shown the hero or the heroine project themselves on the big screen while watching a movie. Countless times we have seen movies introduce song sequences where the boy and the girl imagine themselves being in a film, dancing with scenic backgrounds and professing love in poetry. Often we are introduced to a character inspired by the action movies on the big screen, picturing himself the infamous Don or the courageous cop straddling down the street. The industry is well aware of its role in the fantasies of a common man. Salim is no such exception. He is shown watching a typical quote-unquote masala movie hero. He admires a girl from a distance and lets her know of his affection through a single rose, a reminder of the romance of old Bollywood. But we don't get to see him get lost in these fantasies. His dreams are often of him escaping on a Pegasus with his lover's face to the valleys that he left behind in Kashmir. But they always end with a gunshot. He dreams of the good times he shared with his parents, but then is instantly reminded of their unfortunate fate. A reminder that his actions will always be haunted by the reality he faced. He can dream of a better future, but he cannot escape his past. He admires the hero on the screen, and Salim's actions are inspired by that. Ready to fight the goon who tells him to stay away from the girl, or rejecting religion differences for love in a Shakespearesque discussion about the religion of flowers. In one sequence, as his lady love accepts the rose for the first time, he dances to the beats of a barat passing by, mimicking the steps of the superstar he idolizes. But just like his dreams, he is pulled back to reality from time to time. Like when he finds out that the girl he loved dances in a bar for sleazy men, or when he is able to reconnect with her and save her, he is hit by a car of the very superstar that he admired on screen all through the story. Maybe that is why the end is the only time he truly fantasizes, the one time that he has allowed himself to indulge his desires. A recreation of the very first scene we see of a film in a film, but instead of the superstar, it is Salim himself saving the day. One last dream where he gets to escape is the one where he is a different man altogether, in different circumstances from his own, with no memories pulling him down. The last triumph that he gets is by imagining a completely different persona of himself. While Salim is unable to move ahead of his past, Shirley relishes inside it. There are moments in the story where the background changes from color to black and white as we follow Shirley to the grave of her partner. She lives in a house they both shared, surrounded by the toys that Shirley received as a gift from her partner. She has the hat and the coat that her partner would wear to disguise herself as a man laid out on the chair, while photographs of them in dancing poses hang around the house. Shirley's nights include listening to the songs of her youth and recall the golden days to her partner's soul residing in the solid walls. She is defined by the era which was devoid of color, yet her memories are sprinkled with rainbows. She is particular about the different shades of the roses in her garden and is adamant that only the perfect red be offered to her lover's grave. She listens to the music of her younger days, eagerly waiting for the movies that are attached to the memories of her love life and still have kept her old white dress to be worn someday, reviving her past is her escape. She does not have any financial or class crisis to overcome like the other characters. Her struggles come from moving on from her past alone. She presents the image of an independent woman who is not willing to relax on her students for speaking Hindi even for a second, or let the watchman off the hook for letting someone steal the rose she has chosen from her garden. She flirts with the antique shop owner and blushes when he flirts back. But in her alone time, she much rather prefers to be transported back to the time when she could dance while holding hands with the woman she loved. When some of her toys break down, she is immediately distressed. She is afraid to lose her connection to her fantasies. Her escapism is her only mode to survive. So, when she does get the toys fixed, she decides to take a final journey in the past. Unlike Salim, she had been making this to and fro for quite a while. But when she realizes that the symbol of her past was breaking down, she knows it is time to let go of these fantasies. However, she has been living through these memories for so long, she is afraid to go forward without them. And so, just like Salim, she too allows herself to completely get lost in the final fantasy. Only in her case, it is the past she escapes to, one she has already lived. Kamla is not stuck in the past, neither does she dream of a fairy tale future. In her fantasies, she stays the same, living the same life that her real life counterpart does, only her surroundings have shifted to a land far, far away. In her first dreamlike sequence, she walks through the streets of Mumbai with the basket of flowers on her head, but as the landscape changes to that of a market for the Mughal lords, she carries the same basket, only now dressed in jewels and flowing fabric of a high-placed lady of the palace, someone who would never be seen selling flowers. Her romance is often followed by the sequences of secret royal lovers stealing moments from the watchful eyes of guards. They sit by the river or share glances among the trees with beautiful music in the background. She was married off to a rich old man when she was a child. Trapped in a big house covered in jewels, her fantasy includes her sneaking away from the palace gates to meet a man she desires. As she dances in a lowly Mumbai dance bar, she pictures herself in the lush gardens of a palace, gliding gracefully as the paintings show. The villain of her story is a man with an eagle tattoo who is an amalgamation of all she despises about her life, and just like her misfortune, the eagle looms over her dreams. She is not trying to find solace in something that doesn't exist or has not existed for a long time. With her stories, she is just trying to make her circumstances a little bearable. Probably the most realist of them all, she finds a temporary shelter in fairy tales, but tries her best to make them as close to her reality as she can, finding a little comfort in the one thing that in all the chaos that she can control, which is how she perceives herself. She works towards it too, with plans of running to Dubai to earn better money for her and her family. She is moving ahead and making plans. She doesn't wait for opportunities like Salim, who spends his day watching movies and waiting for a call from an old acquaintance. Neither does she spend her days reliving old days of carelessness and possibilities. She is determined to find her way out, and so when she finally visits the sea after a long time to let go of the gajras she made for Salim, she is back in the highest tower while a battle ensues below. She is trapped again, but she still stands at the window alone, waiting for the outcome. Bombay Rose shows the effects of stories on an individualistic level, whether it is the audience shouting at the screen for cutting a kissing scene, or the people in the barat dancing to a popular Hindi song. We are all seeking an escape from the mundane. It is also telling that the children in the movie are suffering similar circumstances, yet we are never shown their fantasies. Maybe they don't have one. They do not need an escape because they still have a future full of possibilities. Their dreams and fantasies are not an escape but just a detour. It is only when you grow older you realize how further away from real life it is. But then again, these daydreams are what's keeping most of us sane and functional.